So what's up, guys? So I was here with Andy. Andy had me come out and do his podcast. We had a blast doing that. We're in his studio, which is super cool. He's got this sweet flag back here and sweet table. But while I was here, I wanted to sort of talk with him because I was listening to when he sent me a message, I was listening to some of his podcasts that he's been on and everything else. And it's interesting to see, I think this is always interesting to see the ideas that come from people of different backgrounds and things like that and the similarities that they have. And one of the ideas that you were sharing when you were talking about like going through like BUD/S training or when you were an instructor was the idea of keeping your world small. And I thought about that because, and you can explain it in a second, but I did it intuitively myself years ago. I remember, whenever I lift weights, if it's like, all right, we're doing 12 repetitions, it starts to get to like 8 repetitions and I'm burning. All right, just 2 more, let's get to 10. All right, just 2 more, we'll get to 12, and then even like with training and stuff like that, I remember being like younger and where training used to be really, really rough at different times, or even in high school where I would be really nervous because you didn't know what the coaches had cooked up for us today or whatever. And, to say, all right, I'm just going to make it through the next line or next thing that I got to do, or I'll make it through this next thing or whatever, instead of thinking about the whole grand thing about it, just thinking about just this one little thing I got to get done. And so what is that idea of keep the world small?
To be honest, at a grander scale, it's probably one of the concepts that's had the biggest impact on my life. And it's helped me be successful. My life is definitely defined more by my failures than my successes, but when I have been successful or even navigating my way through failures to success, it is something that has helped. But I have seen, and from both being, to use the military example, as a BUD/S student and then going back as an instructor, wildly different experiences.
I bet.
One is fun, one's not. Because in one of those experiences, you're like laying on your back with sand on your face, and there's a dude drinking a coffee with a garden hose with water going directly up your, it's like a sniper with the water.
Oh my gosh.
And on the other side of that coin, you're drinking coffee with a garden hose.
People.
And it's awesome. But you got to earn that spot.
Yeah.
And the number, as a BUD/S student, my class started with 180. We graduated 18. Mm-hmm. It was a winter class, so the attrition rate is a touch higher, but historically it's 75 to 80%.
Okay.
Winter months, colder water, it just, the cold cracks people. When you're a student and somebody quits, you never see them again. You don't have a chance to be like, dude, Chewy, what the fuck, man? Why did you just quit? As an instructor, they're around for a few days. And I went and I was talking to these students who almost everybody who shows up at BUD/S will tell you, this is what I've wanted to do my entire life. This is the single most important thing, my number one goal in life. And then you see 75% of them change their mind. And I found it fascinating to sit there and talk to them about why. What was it that made you make this choice? And the number one thing, the difference in that environment between success and failure was how you viewed the evolution or the world or your goal. People who viewed it, BUD/S is 180 days long, plus or minus a couple days. And the difference in success between somebody who is counting backwards, 179 more days to go, 178 more days to go, versus the advice I got when I went in as a student was, don't even worry about the days, just make it until the sun goes down. And then, make your next decision. Or you could say, hey, just make it to the next sunrise, however you wanted to structure it. But that's all I would think about. And then one day becomes the next, and then the calendar flips over and you're 2 months in and you're 3 months in. So I'd sit and talk with these students, and BUD/S is designed to press you as a person to your lowest point. And, we use a variety of tools from environmentals, the water. You want to talk about getting people cold, get them in the ocean, have them take their top off, and they stand up on a sand berm as the wind in the middle of the night is blowing across their body. God. With the knowledge that when they're done with that evolution, we're going to go back in the water.
Yeah.
For 7 days.
There's no escape from it.
There's no escape.
Yeah.
And, but maybe that doesn't work for everybody. So we'll pair that with, we're not going to let you sleep from Sunday through Friday for Hell Week. And then, we'll pair that with, we're not going to feed you when we want to. And the whole thing is designed to press, to see what people do in that environment where their true self comes through, their true character comes through. And you'll see some of that, but you'll also see people who make a mistake and they start viewing the world too big. And another way to describe that when I say talking or thinking about the world and being too big is being overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. So they'll think of Hell Week starts on a Sunday and it ends on a Friday. You sleep 2 hours on Wednesday. That's it for the entire week. It sucks. Yeah. And you could sit there at the beginning and be like, I got 5 more days. Or you could just say, the advice that I was given, forget what day it is, just make it to the next meal because they have to feed you 4 times a day. So you're taking it in 6-hour chunks. And that's all I would ever think about. So I didn't care what day it was. I just worried about getting to the next meal. And if that didn't work, I would worry about getting through the next evolution that I was in. And if that didn't work, I would try to just get to a place, and I've been in this place where I tell myself in my head, one of my constant mantras is, I can always do one. It's like, I'll take a step, or they wanted us to do pull-ups. Like, okay, I'm going to do one. And then we'll readdress the world after that. So I talked to these students, and the number one thing that they said, the reason why they quit is they got overwhelmed and they started viewing their world in the largest perspectives possible, how far they were from their goal as opposed to incremental baby steps. And they would make a decision in the lowest point, and the number one emotion that they would express, and I'd run into students sometimes years later, regret. So, and it was all based, they were physically capable, believe me. There's so many written physical tests that you have to take to even start training. If you can show up on day one, you physically possess what it takes to graduate. It's the muscle between the ears that makes the difference, really. And that power of how you can control your thoughts and think about your world. And I think personally it applies directly to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine starting like, God, I got to do this for 10 more years until I get my black belt.
Oh, yeah.
Versus, what are we learning today?
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, okay, the way SBG is structured, we do an hour-long class and an hour-long open mat. Like, God, I got to roll for 59 more minutes. Or it's like slap and bump. And then maybe 5 is too much for you. So maybe just think about, what's the move I need to do right now?
Right. Or
you're stuck somewhere. How do I get out of this? And then worry about the rest of it later. And it's amazing how you can build momentum with those small steps. Positivity and negativity, or good habits and bad habits, they have momentum and they have gravity, but you got to build them in both directions. But it's something for me, on my worst days, it's like, you know what, I'm going to get through today. So I mean, kind of like those are my mantras. Like, I can always do one, and then another one I'll consistently tell myself is nothing lasts forever.
I heard that when you were talking about it, and I was like, that's such a, like I said, I used that idea over and over again, everything from renovating a house that I was overwhelmed with, where looking at the house, and then I was like, all right, let's break it room by room, like a chunk, and then even with training, like it can be very overwhelming. And that's another reason why I want to share it, is because anybody listening, like, that's a useful idea.
Think about it in the terms of losing weight. You want to go compete, and you're like 25 pounds. The difference in success for people when they look at weight loss, if they go, okay, I lost 1, I have to do 24 more.
Yeah.
Or just celebrate the 1 pound.
Right.
And you know what? Lose 1 more.
Yeah.
Lose another one. Saving money, getting out of debt, going and working out, dietary changes. I mean, take it in the bite. I'm sure you've heard how do you eat a whale or an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Yeah. I'm a habit guy. So like anything that I do, I have to basically form into maybe not every day, but almost everyday habits so that I can actually get it done. Like, so for instance, like dieting, it's like, all right, well then this is how I have to eat every day.
That's that momentum though.
Exactly. Because it keeps going.
Yes.
And it's like,
and it gets easier.
It does.
The hardest push is the one when the rock is not moving.
Yes. A body in motion stays in motion. When you have that steam going, you just feel better.
Yep.
And even like for people that competing, like that's another thing I thought about when you were kind of going through it. It's easy, like for instance, one of the big things that happens like when people go to like competitions is for some people, these competitions are really stressful things, because they get worried about, as you'd say, they made the world too big. Because they'll start thinking, well, my team might get upset. My coach I don't want to let my coach down. And
everybody's watching me.
Everybody's watching. What if I don't win the medal and I train so hard for this thing, whatever. Just think about, you have to hit the person with a technique. Yeah. That's what you got to do right now. That's the present.
What's your opening move?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do when the match starts? That's the most important thing right there.
Yeah. And if it doesn't go so there's 2 options. Your move is going to work, and then you can think about what you're going to do next. Or depending on where you're at, you could plan a few. Or the other option is your move's not going to work. And then you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do next anyway.
And you figure it out anyway. Yeah. So I thought it was just a useful idea that you were sharing, and so I wanted people in the channel to hear it. So again, you can obviously apply that to pretty much anything. But I think it's useful for
hugely jiu-jitsu. Impactful. And almost every... If you have goals, if you live in a world where there are goals, that how you view your goal and then how you pursue it, to me, that's the metric for whether or not you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And there's so many people that go into jiu-jitsu that have these dreams, goals, and aspirations. Like I've had guys come in that told me like their dream was to be the jiu-jitsu, this, that, whatever, and then they just quit. And again, it's because they maybe weren't getting as good fast enough or whatever, and again, it's like when you were talking about the kids at Bud's training and stuff, or Men at Buds training,
They're kids.
Yeah. I feel like we're all kids.
Yeah.
I feel like male
From an age they're like 18, 19, 20 for the most part. They're kids.
You're not really adults yet. I mean, and I feel even like male adults, I feel like our maturity stops somewhere around 12. Like when we're around each other. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, like if someone farts in a room, we still laugh, like.
This is accurate.
But yeah, so I just thought it was such a useful idea because I've heard guys like come to me and say like they got these big dreams, goals, aspirations, and they're thinking about all that stuff instead of saying, I got to train today. I got one more round to do. This is the moment. This is the present. This is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that changes anything.
If you live in that macro, the huge picture, all it takes is a bad day or something to happen on a day where you're just not feeling your best.
Yeah.
It's so easy to throw the towel in. If you break it down to the micro, I'm like, I just need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Totally disregard the bigger picture. I mean, keep your eye on the prize, whatever it may be, and make sure you're moving in the right direction. But the power of keeping your world small, I cannot overstate how much impact it has had on my life.
Nice. Well, cool, brother. Again, appreciate you having me out. And then for you, if anybody wants to check out your podcast, I'll put the links down in the description box below so you guys can check it out. It's called Cleared Hot.
It is.
And where can they find all that stuff?
Well, Cleared Hot Podcast is where you can find them wherever you YouTube, iTunes, whatever. All of my social stuff is a version of my name. My Instagram is Andy Stumpf, which some asshole had Andy Stumpf, so I had to throw my Bud's class number on there, 212, which is where that comes from.
Okay.
I'm going to track that son of a bitch down, though.
So someone already had you.
He did. I was like, what?
Because you're the only one.
I am.
Yeah.
To me, I'm the most important and only one. My mother told me I was special. No, but versions of my name on social, and the podcast is called Cleared Hot. You can find it anywhere you consume podcast media, and it's easy as that, man.
Cool. I'll put it down for the links for you guys below. And brother, appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate it.